So I'm your Shiny here. So today I'll be speaking about Chandramukhi. ஸோ எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்ச மாதிரி சந்திரமுகி வந்து ஒரு தமிழ் படம் அண்ட் அந்த படம் பற்றி அந்த படத்தில் வந்து கதை வந்து வேறு மாதிரி இருக்கும். ஆனால் உண்மையான கதை வந்து ஆக்சுவலி வேறு. So basically the true story of this is actually like different from the movie which is called as Chandramukhi. So basically Chandramukhi is a story that everyone knows, as in the movie, like she is a young dancer which is very beautiful and then like get killed by the king. So basically this is not the true story. There is another story beyond this story of the movie. So in this video I'll be telling you about what is the real story, and also I'll be explaining about what actually features from the photo of the Chandramukhi. So basically, as everyone know, Chandramukhi's story is featured by a movie from where it got name as Chandramukhi. As my personal experience, I had so much of question inside of me when, like, after I watched the movie, like, is like Chandramukhi like the real story? And is it real? So is it like a ghost, or is like the Chandramukhi name is real? Chandramukhi stands for the king or the princess, the dancer, or like what Chandramukhi stands for. So there was like so much of questions inside of me after I watched that movie. So basically the story in this movie is about creepy happenings in abandoned mansion, like creepy things like happen in the mansion, like the ghost thing, and then like what really happens, all these things. So basically like they have a lot of ghost sites over there and attributed to the ghost of an ancient courtesan. So ancient courtesan means like an in the ancients, if the dancer, the girl dancer, like if that, let's say she was dancing the classical dance which is called as Bharatanatyam, but then when she danced not inside of the house, but then she danced outside, so like public can see, public is attending her dance, attending her shows. So it means like she is not coming from a well-doing family, she is not respected, so she will be called as courtesan, and she will actually brought by the king, and she will be placed in the palace. So the woman actually need to serve the king, need to like serve the king, take care of the king, and need to be with the king, something like that. So basically she cannot really take her own decision as a woman in her life. So everything she need to act like a puppet, like what king says need to do, need to take care of king, need to be with king, cannot go anywhere, need to do dance for king, need to dance for king. So she was like basically like a puppet, and she cannot make any decision. She was like a puppet. So basically I will be coming to the story of the portrait. So when I look at the portrait, my personal experience was like the portrait was really really beautiful. So if you can see, it was like she was wearing a yellow saree, yellow orange kind of saree, and then she was like smiling. At the outer beauty, she's really really beautiful, so that is why king like fall in love with her. So basically Chandramukhi is one of those paintings that contain a rich history. It tells story of a woman sought after by men and envied by women. So basically when she is like pretty, a lot of other princess in that country actually envy on her because she was like very beautiful. She experienced an unfortunate fate. Most people who take a look at this painting fail to see that there's more beautiful woman inside her. So basically they only see her beauty, but they never see her heart. They only think she was like already brought by the king to the palace, and she got all the wealth, she got all the power, and she got all the money, and people think she is happy, but basically she was not happy. So that was the truth. The portrait ironically depicts Chandramukhi to the viewer as someone who is fully control of her life, even though history says the opposite. Thus, the portrait convincingly makes the viewer understand what life under the tyrannical rule is like for a woman who blinds her audience with beauty while covering up the violent truth. This is a very powerful portrait in that a lot of what its creator was trying to relay to the audience through Chandramukhi is still applicable to people in today's times. Looking at this painting, anyone can see that it's a painting of a beautiful woman adorned in fancy clothing, jewelry, and they will also most likely proceed to make conclusion about who she was and what her lifestyle was. So when looking at the portrait, so we will feel like, oh, okay, she is coming from a well-doing family and she's rich because she's wearing this expensive jewelry and all these things. But the truth was she is not rich. So, however, unlike their preconceptions about Chandramukhi's true story is far from truth. So as I said before, the true story is like far different from the exact Chandramukhi movie. And also she have very interested in the classical dance. Some even go for saying since she was so beautiful and arrogant, and if they were the king, they might done the same thing. So basically, some people were also saying that if I'm the king, I would do the same thing to that kind of beautiful woman. So in that kind of era, their mindset is like so toxic. So like I cannot imagine how a guy can talk like this, or like the guys can talk like this. Like if she's beautiful, that means you make her like a puppet. So what kind of mindset do you have at that kind of era? So this happens like 100 or 500 years back. Although it may seem like this painting has made an impactful change in a lot of people's life, there are still many who will need to learn the true value of this painting. Through this painting, people should be focusing on learning that even women who seem strong and confident may have harsh truth that they are hiding in order to survive. So in order for her to survive, she was hiding the blind truth. She was hiding the truth. So basically, for a woman who has had to lead a lifestyle in the way Chandramukhi has, her survival strategy becomes winning power and confidence even there is none in order to protect herself. This is why when people who are outsiders to Chandramukhi's past look at Chandramukhi's, all they can see is a confident and pompous woman executing power. The painter actually purposely made that kind of effort and the kind of like showing off her beauty, and she was like outside only she was beautiful and inside she was like a very good woman, something like that. So he put so much of effort to actually show from her eyes and all these things. So actually I didn't understand, but when I did the research, then now I can understand that the painter actually purposefully did all these things so that to actually make sure that we can actually understand. But basically I don't really understand by looking at the portrait, but when I read through and I do some research, then now I can know. So there is like a very big effort for the painter to actually do all this kind of effort to make sure that we can actually understand. As discussed in the paragraph above, those who've so basically when people actually know the true story of Chandramukhi, that Chandramukhi is actually going through a bad life and she was like actually surviving, and she was like really going through and a very hard life, and she was like actually surviving and all these things, and people actually then realized that she was pity, and then they also at the same time feel guilty and all these things. The painter purpose wasn't just to let people know about Chandramukhi's ill-fated life, but instead he wanted people to realize how easily they can blinded by outer appearance. So basically as a human being, when there is like outer appearance, so for example in now this kind of era, if you can see like people, they used to post whatever they want to post, and we as a viewer, we just believe by looking at that. Some never believe, some did analyze, but some jealous, but majority, if you can see, like they believe whatever they post, they just believe in it, but the truth, they don't know what is the real truth out of it. So basically through the guiltiness, the painter probably hoped that the audience would be forced to think deep about why they were feeling guilty. Then hopefully people will come to the realization that not only were they quick to judge a person based on the preconception they formed, but they were also easily deceived by the painter's clever sketch. Okay, so now I'll be actually telling about the true story about the king. So basically, he actually lived in Kerala and he is very, very powerful since the age of 24. At a very young age, he was very, very successful. He have goals, he have money, he have cars, he have palace, he have three wives. So basically, if you can see at the age of 24, he was very, very powerful and very respectable among the person and peoples around the village and the country. So basically, if you can see, he actually lived in Kerala, in the city called Muddam, Muddam. So he have a very big palace which is actually located in Muddam in Kerala, India. So basically, if you can see, the palace is actually made of three compartment. So there is like for male and for female, and the other one is for females. So basically, if you can see, there is also like a outside compartment mainly for the workers who actually do house chores and actually like helping the king doing the house chores. And sorry, the light goes off. It was like the workers who helped the king and doing the cookings, and the workers basically actually lived at the outside of the palace. And also, if you can see, since the king was very, very successful and he have like three wife and he was very rich, he have gold, he have money, he have cars, and even like he is the first person to have like cars in that kind city. So basically, you can see like how powerful he was actually in that place. So basically, like a lot of people was envy on his wealth, his power, and his money and all these things. So one day he went to a dance competition, also called like a show, where like girls will dance and showing off their classical dance, which is called Bharatanatyam. So where that at that place is where he actually met that woman, which is called as Nagavali and not Chandramukhi as in the movie. Chandramukhi is not the real name, it was just for the movie. So her name was Nagavali. Okay, and what he did was he actually fall in love with that woman, and like after some time he actually basically kidnapped that woman and actually brought her to his palace in Kerala. So basically when he kidnapped, so basically he like never have her decision in mind, so he never really asked whether she likes it or she don't likes it, and he don't care about that. So what kind of man is this? So it was like seriously very disgusting, because he was like not really asking about the woman's decision whether she likes it or no. He just kidnapped and brought her to Kerala without she liking it. So basically she doesn't like it and she's not interested with that. But she loves the dance. She loves classical dance. She loves to dance. So yeah. And he brought her to his palace, and then he actually treated her very, very well in his palace. So he actually treated her very well in the palace, and she got a lot of how to say, good treat from the king, like he take care of her and all these things. So one day actually he actually really fall in love with her, because she was really very beautiful and she is like very talented, she danced well. All these things actually made the king fall in love her with her madly in love, something like that. But by that time when he actually fall in love with that woman Nagavali, she was very, very young and he was like very old at that time. I'm not sure what age he was, but he actually is very old. So what happened here is that one day when he was actually talking with Nagavali, he was telling that we can have kids. So once we have kids, we have baby and all these things. So actually all the money, all the cars, all the power will go for you and our baby. So what happened here is that when they were talking, and this thing actually was heard by the relative and also the three wife, which is his wife, which is also staying in the palace. So when they actually heard about this, what happened was they don't like it, because of course as wife, who likes it? to actually have another woman. Plus there is also a very concrete reason for that, is because like the previous belief is actually the king will only need to marry with the king's or the princess, king's daughter, or only with the princess. So basically, Nagavali is not a king generation, and she was a ordinary woman only. So there comes the twist. So what happened was, these relatives and the three wives actually planned to kill her. So also in Kerala they have like a very creepy kind of beliefs where the relatives, they actually need to give the power and the money and all these things to actually the relative side, the mom's side, like that. So what happened was, they actually don't like these things and all these things, of course. So they actually planned to kill the princess, which is Nagavali, and the king together in the palace when they were actually in the same room. So actually they killed her in a very dangerous way. They burn up everything. So basically there is like only left ashes of Nagavali and the king in the 100 years back. So this is what the actual story was. They actually burned down and and fully killed the king and the queen and Nagavali over there. So both of them like that. And then what the three wives and the relative did was take all of their money, their golds, their cars and all these things they take with them, and they also give to their, what do you say, the king's, the wife's mom side and the relatives woman side, something like that. They have some kind of creepy beliefs in Kerala those times, 100 years, 500 years back. So this is the the true story. So basically, if you can see now, honestly speaking here, after all the story and everything, so basically the main reason of the wives and the relative killing is because, yeah, as who likes if like they have another wife in the house and like new person in the house, also like not with the same generation, not king generation, right? So that is one of the reasons. And the second one is like king also actually stopped spending time with the three wives. So this is also the second main thing where actually they got envy, and also not only the wife but also the outsiders as well, like the other princess. They was like very envy because like the king was actually spending time only with the Nagavali, and also because she was actually very pretty and all these things actually make people's envy and all these things, envy a lot. But at Chandramukhi, if you can see, they show the king as the uh, bad person, right? So basically king was not a bad person, he was a very nice man, so he was not the bad person. The bad person was the three wives and also the relative who actually killed Nagavali and the king in the palace. So actually, if you can see, the palace is still there in Kerala, in the place called Mudam. So if you're interested in that place, you can actually go to Mudam in Kerala. Sorry, the light went off. And you can actually visit that palace. The palace is really, really nice, and like no one is staying there, no one is taking care of the palace, and the palace is like very dark and no one is staying, and the palace is like very dirty inside of that, like broken stuff is inside of the palace. You can see some videos and research about the palace as well. So actually, if I go to Kerala, of course I will go and we take a visit or on that palace. And also for information, as I am a Tamil Indian, so basically what happened was, like in the movie Chandramukhi, the movie was not taken in that palace actually. Don't mistaken, the movie is actually taken in somewhere in Bangalore, some kind of different palace. Okay, so they were taking the movie in that palace, not in Chandramukhi Palace. And Chandramukhi Palace is still abandoned till now. So like no one is staying there. So it was some kind of creepy if you can see the palace. Maybe like the outside part only they were like maintaining it, like the grass, all these things. But if you can see, the inner part was like not maintained and all these things. So they also have like compartment outside for workers. They were actually real like in the movie lah. And it was not big. The palace is not very big. So it's something like bungalow, normal bungalow, but were a bit like tall, high, like that. So that was the palace, and it has a three compartment, and it has like a lot of doors. And also, if you can see, there is like a room. We call it. I'm not really sure about the opening of the door. They have like a veil thing, right? So they do actually have that kind of lock in India, where actually the lock is to actually protect the king's gold, wealth, money, all these things in the house. So like previously, like many years back, don't really have banks and all these things. So they have the specialized lock. I'm not sure the name, but they have this lock, like something like veil, and then we need to turn it to open the door. And then first door we open, there will be another door, and we need to open the second door, and there will be another door, we need to open the third door, then only we can enter. If you can see, that lock was real in the movie, but once the door opened, then you can see inside the room that was not real, because you need to actually go beyond two, three, third door to actually open the room door. So that was actually to protect the money, the gold and all these things. So that was the function of the specialized lock door. Not for the room door. So it was like specialized only for keeping money door, room, something like that. Yes. So I will keep a full stop to my story and for my explanation right now, and hope this is actually very useful. And as for my personal experience, it was very useful for me as well, because I got to learn a lot of things from this, not only the history but also a lot of information as well from the poster, as I explained just now. You can actually apply that in your real life as well, to actually behave better, to be a better human. So we can actually learn from all these things. So I hope this video actually not only give you information, but also you can learn something good from out of this video. So thank you for listening to my stories, and you can actually suggest down in the comment on what next should I talk, any special topic, history, black magics, supernaturals, any creepy stories. Even if it's not related to supernatural, if you want to story me, you can actually go and see at my channel in the about section, so you can get my email. And if you want to like to tell stories to me, or you just want to talk to me, you can actually email me over there. So that's all for today, and thank you.